Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Amada TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram at QueenAmadaShakur. You can also follow the Queen Amada Shakur fan page, and you can follow me on Twitter at DGoddess27. Hello, Lady E, Beatzilla, Courtney, Pearly, Kathy, Desmond, Byron, TJ, Taya Mazzy TV, Howard, Jeff ATL. All right, Mark Ayers from the UK, Neon Black, Belinda. Okay, so shout out to everyone in the chat, everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, Ray Williams. All right, Irfan and Nicole. So with that all being said, let's get into it. Hello, Melanated Brown, King 69, Susan, Nessie X, Michael M, Black Beauty. All right, Terry Hinton, Cherokee to Citadel. Okay, so let's get into it, beloveds. Now, thank you, Silent D. Silent D says, listening while driving, but definitely ready for wise words, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Thank you for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Okay, so hello, Pierre. Okay, so with that all being said, Jeff says, I like the peaceful music. Thank you. Slick Rick, I see you. Okay, so I'm going to briefly go over some of the things I said on the last broadcast for those who missed it. So as I said, most people who die, right, like in accidents and things like that, they usually die between the hours of 9 to 6. Those are the hours that many people are at work. You get up in the mornings, often cursing yourself, performing rituals against life, and speaking death into your own existence. And people don't realize it, as I said before. So I'll just go over this briefly. So people rise in the morning. They say that they are awakened, okay? I'm awake. Wake is where you go to see a dead person's body. You go to view a dead person's body. That's called awake. So you get up in the morning, starting a new day of life, speaking death. So you should say grand rising. Instead of saying you wake, you should say you rise in the morning. Notice I always say grand rising. I don't say good morning. Morning also pertains to death. When someone dies and you're grieving, you're in mourning. Okay, so there's no such thing as a good morning. Even though it's spelled differently, it's still the same thing. The English language is what I call a bastard language. Okay, because the words are usually crafted and created to send out a certain electromagnetic frequency, hence putting things out there into the universe, and you can unwittingly, inadvertently speak negative things into your own existence. Your subconscious mind hears things literally. The universe takes things literally. Okay, also, our ancestors had the ability to speak things into existence. Over time, we lost that ability because we started mixing our words. Terry Hinton says, thank you, Queen, for this channel. Well, thank you, beloved, for your kind words and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. And so with that all being said, let's just say, for example, if someone comes home from a tired day at work and they take off their shoes and they say, man, my feet are killing me. Well, we know that your feet can't literally kill you, right? So that's causing confusion with your subconscious mind. All right. So you have to speak things into existence and you have to choose your words carefully and speak them, the way you want them to be perceived and go out into the universe. In the Bible, it says the power of life and death is in the tongue, right? The power of life and death. So you can either speak death upon yourself and others, or you can speak it upon yourself, or you can speak life upon yourself and others. So another thing is, I told you, people complain about their jobs. Some people hate to go to work. They hate their jobs. They hate to deal with the people at their jobs. The word job, J-O-B, literally in Hebrew means persecute. If you think about it, in the Bible, there is the story of Job, who was persecuted by the devil because the devil wanted him to denounce God, right? And Job refused, and so the devil persecuted him. Job, J-O-B, job, J-O-B, same word. That's where they got that from. So please pay attention. They're really crafty. The powers that shouldn't be know exactly what they're doing, and they use this to keep you trapped in a box. I also showed you how the word spell is a trap. S-P-E-L-L. Showed you this before. I'll just show it again. The word spell If you take the two L's, those two L's together, and you flip one of them upside down, it creates a box. That's a trap. You are trapped inside the box, hence trapped by a spell, hence spell bound, meaning you're bound by the spell. That's why they say think outside of the box. You see, people like myself and other people who think outside of the box become a threat to the powers that shouldn't be. They become a threat to people, to the owners of these social media platforms. That's why they'll start banning your channels and doing all sorts of things. They become a threat to the government because now you're going against their narrative. The CIA created the word or the term conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory. That is a term that they created after the Kennedy assassination. It was made to criticize and to demonize and vilify anyone who spoke against the government's narrative. All right? So let's just talk about how this all starts. When you first go to school, as I said before, you learn how to spell. S-P-E-L-L. You learn how to spell. You learn how to cast spells. First, you learn the alphabet. The alphabet is a bunch of geometrical figures, right? These letters are designed, there's sacred geometry, and they're ideograms. Now, these ideograms written with certain symbols and put together to form words, they create or they represent your thoughts, and they send out certain vibrations. Words, along with sound put together, put vibrations into the universe, electromagnetic vibrations. Now I'm going to show you the word magnetic. Magnetic. If you look at the word magnetic, I'm probably sure that you didn't notice that that word actually has the word magic in it. Okay? It's trapped energy. So if you look at this, I already wrote it down ahead of time. See the word magnetic. I underlined the word net. A net is a trap. You can use a fish net to capture fish. Okay, so net is a trap, right? The internet, the website, the dark web. Webs are traps. Nets are traps. Internet and webs. Pay attention to those words as well. So if you look at the word magnetic, if you remove the word net, N-E-T, out of it, which is a trap, then you have the word magic. Okay, so magic is real. The powers that shouldn't be use magic against us and on us every day to trap us. All right? They don't want us to think for ourselves. They want to be able to control us. Okay? So with that all being said, let's just talk about how when you're in school, they give you something called a test. They like to give you spelling tests when you're a kid, right? You start learning these words, then they give you spelling tests. Now, spelling tests are given because they want to ensure that you spell the words correctly, because they want you to get used to seeing the words, the symbols, in the same order every time you write them. Why do they want you to do that? Not just so you spell correctly, but so that every time you write those words in the same sequence with the same symbols, you are in fact making the spell that you're casting stronger. Hence, it's more likely to work. And you don't even realize this, right? You're learning how to cast spells, and then you start to create sentences. And in these sentences, you have terms. Now think about that. Because when someone goes to court and they're convicted of a crime, the judge does what? Sentences them. They get a sentence. You may get a life sentence. And then you serve a term of life in prison. You get a sentence and you're sentenced to a term. Just like you learn to create sentences that are formed by terms that you created with your words. Okay? The word grammar comes from the old French word grammare, which means literally a book of spells. So are y'all seeing how this is so wicked? This is literally witchcraft. This is casting spells with your words. Our ancestors never did this. That's why they were forbidden to learn to read, and that's why they were forbidden also to speak their own native languages. And they would separate different tribes of people to put them with other people whose languages they didn't understand, so they couldn't get together and engage in their own spiritual practices and traditions and things like that, because they wanted them to be spellbound under the English language, which, like I said, is a bastard language. All right? I'm sorry y'all hear this paper rattling, but I wrote down these notes because I don't want to leave anything out. And even though I'm doing this, we're not going to get through all of it, honey, because we could do this every day. It's so many words and phrases. All right? So literally almost every word in the English language is a spell. Can be used to cast a spell. All right. So the word test, I want you to look at the word test. T-E-S-T. You see how I made the T's like crosses? That's how you make a small T, right? Now the first T's were made like this, like a cross. Okay, a cross is a sign of persecution. Then the Bible tells us that they nailed Jesus to a cross, right, and persecuted him. So you see the two crosses, and then you see the E. The E represents energy. The S is half of the number 8. The number 8 in numerology means infinity. Okay, so the S in this path, this is basically talking about your point of travel, the word test. You see, the cross represents north, south, east, and west, the 4 different directions that you travel. The E represents the energy. The S represents the path, like you're traveling a road. You see, the S is shaped like a path. Okay, so with that all been said, you're trapped between the two crosses, which are persecuting you, and they are basically trapping your energy. If your energy is trapped, you cannot use the energy to the best of your ability because you are trapped in a maze. All right. So they're directing your energy down a direct path. And so, with that all being said, that's what they don't want you to do. They don't want you to be able to harness and direct and manipulate and master your own energy. So, that's all very tricky. Now, let's talk about some more words or different uses of how the elite do these things. So, for example, the word alcohol. I told you all before that they call certain package stores or liquor stores, they call them, they say they have spirits. That's because the word alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-hal. All right, spell A-L dash A, I'm sorry, hold on. A-L dash K-H-O-L, al-hal. That word means body eating spirits. Okay. They also refer to alcohol by a slang term as booze, B-O-O-Z-E. That refers to a ghost. A ghost says boo, right? That's where they get booze from. A ghost is also considered a spirit. So it's the same thing, very tricky. When they say another word, research, I do lots of research. What does research mean? Anytime you put R-E in front of a word, it means to do it again, right? Because re means again. So research means to search again. To search again means to continue looking. So you research means you look again, you continue searching for what? The truth, if you're smart. That's what I do. Okay. And then, like I said, you have the word spell bound, which means you're bound by the spell. You're born into bondage and you don't even realize it because from day one, from the day that you're born and birthed into this world, they start using spells on you. You learn to cast the spells later yourself, but even before you learn to cast the spells, they are casting the spells on you. So you're born already a slave. You're born into bondage. Ceremony, as in when people go get married, they have a ceremony, right? Well, a ceremony, that literally means ritual or rite. R-I-T-E, rite. Rite meaning ritual. So if you think about some of the pharmaceutical companies, because months ago, I told you all on the main channel, the original QueenAShakur channel, I told you all how pharmaceutical companies cast spells on us with the drugs that they prescribe. With that all being said, the word pharmaca means sorcery. So they're casting spells with things that you take. All right? With that all being said, if you look at some of the pharmaceutical companies, they actually have as a symbol, their logo is a bowl, right, with a little wooden thing that you churn. And that's what witches use to grind their herbs when they're casting spells. Look at Rite Aid. As a matter of fact, let me pull that up so you can see what I'm talking about. And if you think about the pharmaceutical, the pharmacy called Rite Aid, they spell it R-I-T-E, Rite Aid. That means ritual. Okay, so let's look up Rite Aid's symbol. Likes up, everyone, please like and share Rite Aid's logo. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you can see this. Okay, so there, if you look up, you see the word Rite Aid, and then you see their symbol right next to it. It's a bowl with a little wooden stick. It's got some herbs coming up out of it. That's what they use. Now let's look up the one for Walgreens because I believe they have a similar one. Okay, stop the share for just a second. Now let me Google Walgreens logo. Here it is, same thing. Share my screen. Okay, here it goes. Now, if you see this, waiting for it to come up on the screen. Okay, if you see this over here where I'm moving my cursor, on my right, your left, you see the word Walgreens with the little blue thing next to it. That, again, is a little bowl with a little wooden thing in it with the herbs coming up out of it. They're literally casting spells. They're using herbs. They're doing witchcraft. That's exactly what it is. So, all right. So symbolism is something else. It's all around us. Absolutely, Courtney J. Absolutely. Okay, so now they even use it in Hollywood. We already know that. I told you long ago that the word Hollywood, the reason they call it Hollywood is because they made it, they used wands from the holly tree. Okay, the Celtic Druids used the wood from the holly tree to cast spells. So they take this wood and they created wands. And they used it to cast spells, and that's what they did when they created Hollywood, and that's why it's called Hollywood because it's made from wood from the holly tree. Okay, that's why they say it's a magical place because they're casting spells. Even pay attention when you look at a movie. When the movie ends, what do they show you during the credits? It gives you the names of the cast members. The cast members casting spells, cast members, the people who direct the movie, the director, they're directing energy. The people who produce the movie or the show, they're producers of energy. All right, that's what they're doing. They're producers of spells and incantations. History, the word history, his story. That's why we talk about how people don't want the truth of history to be told. They don't want people teaching critical race theory. That's because they want his story to be told, their story. That's what that is. All right. So that's just a few of the things. Also, government, the word government. The word govern, that means to control, to rule, to command. Govern. Ment, right? Ment literally means the mind. It comes from the Latin word mentum. It means mind. So controlled mind. That's what government means. That's why they don't want you to think for yourself. That's why there's all this censorship. That's why they push all these narratives. And the people that work for the mainstream media, they absolutely know these things, and they keep you in the dark, and they use propaganda, and they use words to cast spells. And in their cases, they absolutely know what they're doing. All right? So very sneaky. And once you learn how to manipulate energy, you can create your own reality. But first, you have to realize that real lies, right? You have to realize that there's real lies. And some people just don't get it. And you have to be able to see it with real eyes. Okay? So also energy, rather than spell it E-N-E-R-G-Y, spell it I-N-N-E-R, inner, like your inner self, and G, energy, because your energy comes from within. It cannot be created nor destroyed, only transferred and transformed from one thing to another. The energy, which comes from your inner self. So if it's your energy coming from your inner self, who do you think should be in control of using it, manipulating it, and using it to create their own reality? That's what you should be doing. Not the government, not these politicians, not anyone else, not the elite, not the powers that shouldn't be, only you yourself. And you have to learn how to create, control, and harness and manipulate your own energy. And in doing so, you have to be careful how you use your words. And remember, the subconscious mind takes everything literally. So even if you say something for a joke, even if you say something, that doesn't really make sense, well, your subconscious is going to take it literally. And that's also why when we watch movies and TV programs, which program us and television tells lies to your vision and all of that, But when you watch these things, they're absolutely showing you subliminals because they're trying to control your subconscious because they know that the subconscious mind takes things literally. And when they're programming you in your subconscious, you may not even realize it. Okay? But with that all being said. So everyone, please get those likes up. Please like and share. Please like, and share. Now, we're going to talk about this a little bit further. Pandemonium. Remember, I told you that word because pandemonium literally means all demons. If you look at that word, the word demon is literally in the middle. What did I tell you that demons like to do? Demons like to cause chaos and pandemonium and create havoc and, discord and disdain. That's why you should not allow other people. See, here's the thing. Other people sometimes manipulate your energy by doing things like, an example, narcissists. Narcissistic people are very good at manipulating your energy because what they do is they try to take control of you and they'll manipulate you and tell you false things. They'll criticize you, make you feel bad about yourself or things that you've done or things that you're saying, and they'll use that against you. What they're really doing is manipulating your energy because by the time they get done going in on you, humiliating you, shaming you or whatever, trying to control you, then you feel drained. You may have low self-esteem. You feel self-conscious and things like that. So they've manipulated your energy. That's why I have told you before, do not let other people dictate the narrative. Do not let other people change your energy. Because some of these narcissists, well, actually all narcissists, they absolutely do these things on purpose. And notice how they take no accountability, no culpability for any of the nefarious things they do. They blame everything on you. It's always your fault. It's always someone else's fault. If you hadn't done this, then I wouldn't have done that. That's what they'll tell you. But they're being manipulative and they're manipulating your energy to get the consequence that they want, to manifest what they want, or to get you to behave in a way that's beneficial to them and not you. Why would you let anyone take your energy and rather than using it to benefit yourself, allow it to benefit someone else? But that's what narcissists do. Okay? Beatzilla says facts. Thank you, beloved. And so with that all being said, there's numerous of things. Like I said, I could go on and on and on. Let's talk about Matrix. Now, for those of you who missed the broadcast that I did on this same channel where I broke down the movie The Matrix, please go back and watch that. It's really good. Also, you might want to watch the video where I talked about the show or the story of Pinocchio. I'm sure many of you didn't know that Pinocchio refers to your pineal gland, i.e. opening your third eye. Okay, so Matrix, that is a word of Latin origin, which means mater, M-A-T-E-R, which means mother. Okay, mother's tricks or maid tricks comes from the uterus. Okay, so that's why I say you're born into bondage because the tricks have already started even before you get here. The mother's uterus. Now today it refers to that's the old definition, but today it refers to situations or circumstances in which things form or develop. Well, when you're born, your mind starts to form and develop, and as your mind starts to form and develop, your energy is being manipulated by those around you, and your parents are even manipulating your energy inadvertently. They don't realize they're doing it, most of them. So they're also manipulating your energy. That's the mother's tricks and the maid tricks. So you're trapped in this box, in this matrix, before you even realize it. And then as you go to school, you yourselves start learning to cast spells. Only thing is, you don't realize you're even doing it. And the spells that you're casting are to your detriment. If you knew that you were casting spells, I'm sure you would cast spells that are beneficial to you, right? So here's another one. The word, I don't know if I already said this, but as it pertains to going to work at a job. So some of us, when we go to our jobs, the tasks that we perform at our jobs, we call those undertakings. Undertaking, like the word undertaker, the person who gets the body prepared to be buried. Undertakings, undertaker. Again, another reference to death. Are y'all paying attention? Another thing is we work all day through the week, Monday through Friday, and then we get ready for the weekend because we're excited because we worked all week and we're tired. Now we're weak, so we can't wait for the weekend. Well, here's the thing. Weekend, W-E-E-K-E-N-D, weekend. By the time you get to the weekend, you're literally weakened. W-E-A-K-E-N-E-D. You're weakened. You're in a weakened state of consciousness. You're mentally weak and you're physically weak because you've worked all through the week. Okay? And when you die, you will realize, or everyone around you will realize, that you got the weekend of the deal. Okay? So that's how that goes. So I have a friend who has for years has known about these things. And so he never says, have a good weekend. He always says, Queen, all right, have a strong end. The first time he said that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Have a strong end. But he doesn't say weekend because that puts you in a weakened state. You don't even realize it. So there's that. Also, the word understand. You'll hear some people, they call us hoteps. You'll hear people say understand and overstand. Because to understand means to stand under someone else's authority, to be bound by someone else's authority. All right? So, like I said, there's numerous of words. And another thing is the word work, W-O-R-K, comes from the original word W-A-R-K, work. In one language, it's work, W-E-R-K. But the word work, as in W-A-R-K, that has the word war in it. W-A-R, war, and then the K, right? Which is the same as work, W-O-R-K, which literally means like to be in pain, to be in agony, to suffer anguish, grief. Well, that's what a lot of people feel when they go to work every day. Some people think it's painful. They're in anguish. They hate to go. They feel persecuted because they're at their job. When you earn a wage, E-A-R-N, you earn a wage. When people die, if they're cremated, they're put in an urn, U-R-N, earn and earn, right? Same thing. You earn a wage. I told you previously, the wages of sin is death. So you're earning a wage, but the wages of sin is death. It's all pertaining to death. Speaking ritualistic spells of death upon yourself, rituals directly against living. Who does that? Well, I'm glad you asked. The devil does. Satan himself. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's what the dark magicians, that's what I call them, the higher powers, the elites, those who control the strings, they are using dark magic. They are dark magicians. They are using it to control us. They're manipulating our energy. That's why they have the news broadcasters come out and they start saying things that fearmonger. They start saying things to frighten us, to cause us to worry, things to make one group of people look bad. That's all manipulation tactics. And that's all harnessing your own energy, taking it from you and using it against you. That's what that is. So when you go to work, W-A-R-K, war, right? You literally are going to war when you go to work if you hate your job. So guess what? You're literally at war with the pillars of your mind. Okay? You're at war with the pillars of your mind. And so there's also the word mortgage. Okay? Mortgage. So the word mortgage means a death contract, right? A contract, a dead contract. So with that all being said, you'll notice that many mortgages, and that comes from the old French word, by the way, mortgage, comes from the old French word meaning dead pledge or death pledge. So if you notice, most mortgages are for 30 years. They take 30 years to pay off. So if they take 30 years to pay off, that's like a death sentence, or not a death sentence, that's like a life sentence, right? Because when people get sentenced to life, they may get 25 or to life or 30 years to life. So that's what a mortgage is. It's a life sentence. Pay attention. It's a dead pledge. So do you see how they create and cast spells with words? Another thing is they use this to bind you to contracts. The word contract. They use the power of words to bind us into contracts. For example, the word con, C-O-N, right? Now, that's the root word of contract. That word means to swindle, to trick, okay? And then the word tract, T-R-A-C-T, means a brief treatise, okay? So if you put those words together, it's a brief treatise or a pamphlet that's supposed to be given out for distribution. So if you put con and tract together, you have a fraudulent treatise, okay? And when, in fact, you have been tricked, but when, in fact, you go to court and things like that, say for a civil suit, let's just say if you didn't pay off your 30-year mortgage, your dead pledge that you were in a life sentence with, if you didn't pay that off, then when you go to court against the finance company, the bank, the mortgage, the people who own your mortgage, well, when you get there, what they'll tell you is that you've entered into this contract, and you have, but the contract is fraudulent. Why is the contract fraudulent? I'm so glad you asked. The contract is fraudulent because they have not given you full disclosure. They didn't tell you the whole truth. They didn't tell you that your name in all caps is your straw man. It's your straw person, right? And the straw man is the only one that can be sued for the contract with them. Okay? When you get letters from the IRS or government entities, your name, even on your driver's license, your name is written in all caps. That's not you. That's a fictitious corporate entity that was created on your behalf when you were born, just days after. And so that's the straw man. But they're not going to tell you that. So when you walk into a courtroom and they call your name, let's just say if I walked into the courtroom and they say Queen QueenAShakur and I say present, I announce and acknowledge that I'm there. Well, now that I've accepted that, now I've bound myself to the contract because I've answered for the straw man, which is not even me. But I think it's me, but it's really a fictitious corporate entity created so that the corporation can sue me. They can't sue a living being, a human being of flesh. They have to sue another corporation. So the government creates a fictitious entity for you. And that's the part they don't tell you. So these contracts are all fraudulent. That's why whenever I've received a traffic ticket, thank you for your super sticker contribution, Essential Oil Queen. Peace, love, and blessings to you, beloved. So that's why anytime, after I learned these things, that's why anytime that I go to a court for a traffic ticket, the first thing I say when they call my name, well, first they give you, when the officer gives me a ticket, I don't sign it. Now, some officers will threaten to arrest you if you don't sign it. And so in that case, you can sign it and put under it under duress, right? Under duress, or you can sign it and then put UCC 380, meaning that you reserve your rights, okay, without giving them away. When you go to court for a traffic ticket, they give you a piece of paper. The bailiff usually gives you a piece of paper for you to sign your name and your information and to put whether or not you plead guilty or not guilty. I never sign it. I never fill it out because once you sign the ticket with the cop without reserving your rights or saying that you had to sign it under duress, you're entering into a contract with them. So get ready for the con. If you go to court and they give you the piece of paper and you sign it saying whether you're guilty or innocent in traffic court, you're now entering into a contract. So when the judge calls my name or the clerk calls my name, I'll stand up and acknowledge my presence, but I don't say that I'm that person because I'm not that person, because that person they're talking about is not the real flesh and blood human being, Queen QueenAShakur, but it is instead the fictitious corporate entity, Queen QueenAShakur, the straw man. And I'm not going to answer to the straw man. So when they call my name, I stand up and I say, I represent Queen QueenAShakur. Now, the last time I did that, the judge asked me if I was an attorney, and I said no. The judge says to me, if you're not an attorney, then how are you representing Queen QueenAShakur? I said, with all due respect, my honor, I represent Queen QueenAShakur. So once I said that, I then started to challenge the jurisdiction of the court and all of that. I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole nother story for another day. But long story short, I didn't pay that $847 ticket, honey, that they gave me under fraudulent pretenses and all of that. And I did not talk to the prosecutor. I told them that I was in propria persona, which means I stand here alone in defense of myself. So with that all being said, I don't enter into contracts with them. And I told the judge that, with all due respect, my honor, I do not wish to enter into a contract with this corporation. You see, a traffic court is in fact a corporation. And when you see the word of in something like the United States of America, that means it's a corporate entity. If you go to the municipal court of DeKalb County or Fulton County, that means it is a corporation. If you look behind the judge when you go to traffic court, you will see there's not only the United States flag, but there is a flag that is navy blue with gold fringe. That is a corporate flag. Okay? So they use words of trickery. It's called legalese to deceive you. And if you don't know legalese, that is why you should hire an attorney. I don't have to hire an attorney for civil cases and things like that because I know the tricks. And once you know the tricks and you learn how to think outside of the box, they can no longer trap you or hold you bound by the spell. That's what they can't do. And that's why it is a threat to them when they see people coming out from under the spell. Okay? So that's just what it is. Now, like I said, I could go on and on. There's so many cons and lies and all of that. But what you mainly need to realize is that there's vibrations and there's frequencies. Another thing, too, let me correct myself. Because on the last broadcast, I said it twice. I told you all this last week on this channel. I told you how, the spiritually engaged mind vibrates at the same frequency as the Earth's crust, and it's called the Schumann Resonance. I said Renaissance on the other channel by mistake, but it's resonance. Okay, it's the Schumann Resonance. And so that basically says that when you're spiritually in tune, you're in tune with the universe. You're in tune with nature. You're in tune with the Most High Creator. And when you are such, you will be able to see outside of the box, think outside of the box, break the spell that has had you bound, and you will be able to use the powers and manipulations of words and energies, electromagnetic energies. You'll be able to use that to create your own reality, which is why I said you can answer your own prayers. You are gods within yourselves. You can absolutely answer your own prayers, right? The kingdom of God, the kingdom, your head is the dome. The kingdom of God is within you. So you can answer and create your own reality and answer in, your own prayers. And also you should be saying your positive affirmations, as I tell you all the time. And so with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I'm going to stop broadcasting or casting spells abroad. Remember, I told you that word. You have tuned in. Each time you tune into my channel or anyone else's, you are tuning in to a frequency. So you should think about that. You should think about that when you tune into people's channels. Are these people telling you something that's beneficial to you? Are they telling you something that is going to uplift, enlighten, motivate, inspire, and inform you? That's what you should think about, because you're tuning in to a frequency. People are literally casting spells abroad. All right? You're under a spell of the person's frequency that they are channeling from their channels. So if you're on a channel, let's just say, where people, all they do is gossip and just talk about celebrity gossip all day, that's a low vibrational frequency. That's low vibrational frequency. And even on the channels that I do, where I talk about, social injustices and all those things, we know that that too is low vibrational frequency, right? But at the same time, we have to know these things and be aware of these things. And so the key to that is, when you are listening to those things, you have to also make sure that at some point during the day, usually when you rise, right? First thing when the sun rises in the sky, you have to also raise your energy and your consciousness. You start that off at the beginning of your day by saying positive affirmations, praying that your energy stay uplifted and upbeat, that you stay high vibrational. And then this is why we have the spiritual channel, so that you can be uplifted, motivated, inspired, and encouraged, and your vibration and frequency will rise, even if it sank on the other channel, listening to the nefarious things that occur in this world. But again, we have to know these things are going on, because that's the only way to fight against them and stand against them and speak out against them, is to know that they exist and that they continue to fester. So some things, everything can't always be positive, but you have to have a balance. If you are listening to negative things during the day, then you also should listen to positive things during the day. That's why I say do something productive and destructive, productive and constructive, never destructive. That's why I say each one teach one. Because when you do that, when you share pertinent knowledge with someone else, you are lifting not only your frequency, but theirs as well. Research. Make sure you do your research. Don't just listen to what people tell you, not even just what I tell you. Do your own research. The Bible says, study to show thyself approved. Research means to search again, to continue looking. So we should always be looking for more information and gathering more sources. Sources like sorcery. Okay? Just pay attention to the words. Now that you know these things, you will start to notice everywhere you go, you'll start to notice the power of words. You'll start to notice spells being cast. You'll start to choose your words more carefully. You'll consciously start to do it. And when you consciously start to do it, that strengthens your subconscious, which takes everything absolutely literally. So with that all being said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. Let me say this also. If you remember on the other channel a few weeks ago, I said to the people in the chat and the people watching, I said, I love you to death, but I caught myself and I said, I mean, I love you to life. There's power in words. You all remember when I said that? I said that because I absolutely know the power of words. And now so do you. So with that all been said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Don't forget to do something positive, productive, and constructive, never destructive. And I will talk to you all again soon. Peace. I forgot to close out. Anyway, you all have a blessed day. Peace.